I'm Chae.
And I'm Peyton, and you're listening to In the Vault.
In this podcast, we will discuss topics like lab-grown diamonds versus natural diamonds, sales and marketing strategy, and behind the scenes of being in a woman-owned and operated fine jewelry store.
We'll discuss everything from our travels around the world to our experiences with psychic readings. So what better way to give you a behind-the-scenes look than to share a podcast of what's in the vault?
Thank you for joining us for episode 6. This is Chae Carter, and Peyton is not joining us today because we have our first ever interviewee, and we only have 2 mics because our executive producer says they're too expensive to get a third one. So we are joined today with Deanna Favre.
Hello, thanks for having me, Chae.
In case you haven't heard of her, she is the author of Don't Bet Against Me and The Cure for the Chronic Life, the better half to Brett Favre, a wonderful mother and grandmother, a philanthropist, a completer of Ironmans, the lady boss of lady bosses. Her story is one of strength, adversity, and inspiration. So today, I just would like to touch base on just a little part of your wonderful life story.
Well, gosh. It's, at my age, it's been a long life. So I met Brett when I was 14 in high school. We started dating and
high school sweethearts.
Yeah, high school sweethearts. Of course, we had some ups and downs even through the dating part of it and, some breakups. But we managed to stick it out somehow and got married. And we have Brittany and Breely, our 2 daughters. And I don't know. I think when I became known to the public was through the breast cancer that I was diagnosed with in 2004. And then I lost my brother right before that. So that made the news because we had a Monday night game right after that. So
that's terrible.
I think that's kind of when I came on the scene to everyone.
Well, so you were diagnosed in 2003?
4.
In 2004. What if, I know it's kind of a personal question, but what did it feel like when you first heard the diagnosis?
Well, it hits you like a ton of bricks because cancer, while, we all know what it is, we all hear about it, it's always usually foreign, or not close to home, I guess.
It's always happening to everybody else, not
someone that happens to somebody else, not to me. So it's pretty devastating. And the fact that I buried my brother 4 days before made it a little more devastating, especially for my family, my mom. And that was kind of the tough part for me, worrying about her, during that time, and then coming up with a treatment plan or, where do I go? What do I do? How do I, start this fight?
Sounds like a really dark time.
While feeling so numb because my brother was only 24 years old. So that was a tragic loss and there was some numbness still there. So it was just a tough time.
I can't imagine losing a sibling.
Really tough.
You have, it was your brother and your sister, right?
Yes. And I was the oldest, so 12 years older than my brother. So I always felt kind of like a second mom to him and, very close to him. And I did feel like he was my child because I was always trying to correct him, even as he was older and, trying to get him on the right path. And finally, I felt like he had his life together. He was doing so well. He had a son on the way who was born a month after he passed away, which, was also devastating. So just a lot of adversity all at once.
You've overcome a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You've lived many lives.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was researching you to prepare for the podcast, and it seems like you've just been through so much.
So much.
And you're such a happy, positive ball of energy, I feel like, whenever I'm around you.
I try to be, but I think a lot of that comes through faith and just knowing where my strength comes from. And, just I try to live that way. I try to, live with those because I feel like that all comes from a good source, the positive. Anything heavy or dark, obviously, comes from, an evil side. So
Yeah.
I try to stay on the light side.
Well, so when you found out, it was devastating, and it feels like that kind of thing always happens to everyone else, but it was like happening to you.
Yeah.
What would you say your support team was like during your...
I had a great team in place, thank the Lord, but my husband just kind of took over what we were going to do immediately when he heard that he was at practice. And when I was waiting for the call, he just kept calling me. Did you hear yet? I'm like, I haven't heard yet. I told you I would call, he was just really worried. But once they told me it was cancer, I just kind of went into a fog, and he took over, called a couple of docs. If it were your wife, what would you do? They gave him recommendations, and he flew me to Sloan Kettering in New York, because that's supposed to be the best place to go, for cancer, for breast cancer especially. And well, he came with me, obviously, but he just kind of took over, and here's what we need to do, and then you're going to have treatments after. And he just kind of took over, and that was, at that time, it's what I needed.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the one in charge, but at that moment I needed someone else to take charge, because I just felt like,
He was your rock.
Yeah.
So did I read you were 35?
I was 35. when I
That
was
is
diagnosed.
so young.
Yeah, and no history. I
mean, it's scary.
I never smoked. I don't smoke.
You're like the healthiest
Drink
person I
on
know.
occasion, but I always worked out. I just couldn't believe, like, there's no way on earth this could happen to me. I'm healthy. I'm young. I train.
Yeah, I think that's like one thing too. I'm so glad you came on to talk about this. I know it's so personal, and I really appreciate it, but it's October, everyone. So in the name of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we really wanted to kind of give people a reality check, because it always feels like it's going to happen to someone else. This isn't going to happen to me. I don't have to go to my annual checkups. I don't have it in my family. It's not something I have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about cancer is, even the most healthy, fit, and wonderful human beings, they're not exempt from the random and ruthlessness of cancer. It's blind when it chooses. And so, in 35, that's so young. I mean, I'm 33, so I can't even imagine.
It happens even younger. At that time, I was, going to all these Susan Komen walks, and just, I was more involved, basically just kind of forced into being an advocate. And I met 18-year-olds. I met 24-year-olds that all had mastectomies because of breast cancer, which was, awful to me. I'm thinking, how can this...
They're so young.
Like, you would just assume it would happen to an older person, but
Yeah.
it's happening even younger.
I know. And it's like just not talked about enough, because it's happening to our sisters, our moms, our daughters. I mean, it's just...
And men can be diagnosed with breast cancer as well. And
Really?
I did a spot at a Monday night game. I was in the booth with the guys, and when we were playing Denver, and I talked about that because that was a statistic I didn't know, but like, I think, gosh, I can't remember exactly, but probably 20,000 maybe a year. I would have to double check that, but
Definitely more than you would think.
men,
Yeah.
being diagnosed. So I mentioned that, and I got 2 letters like 2 weeks later from these men who went to get nodules checked after that, and they had breast cancer.
So you saved their lives. Yeah.
I mean, just by mentioning, but
Yeah.
awareness is key for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think with you sharing your story, anyone listening, go ahead and get checked. Just go get a mammogram.
Absolutely.
Like 268,000 new cases every year with breast cancer. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed at some point in their lifetime with breast cancer, and 1 in 39 will die from breast cancer. So it's just like, I didn't realize 1 in 8 women were going to have breast cancer.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah. So any event that I would go to or speak at, if we had like, round tables, 8 tops or 10 tops, I would always say at least one person at a table will have breast cancer. And it's affecting a lot of people, and people just need to be aware of that. And women need to be doing monthly checks. You need to learn how to do your own, self breast check, and you can do it in the shower. And that's what saved me, because the year before I had gone to an event in Wisconsin for breast cancer awareness or some event for cancer. I don't know. I think it was the American Cancer Society, but the wives were invited. So at this luncheon, they passed out these shower cards to teach you how to do your own self check. And I put it in my shower and started checking. And that's how crazy. I found my nodule.
It's like it just, like you said earlier about faith, like the alignment there for you to be able to catch it early.
And catching it early is key as well. And I think that the people who do die are probably the ones who catch it in stage 4, or like my grade was 2. I was stage 2. I'm sorry, not my grade, but stage 2. And the grade, there's a grade also 1 to 4. And my grade was a 4. So it was very aggressive. So fortunately, I caught it in that early stage 2. Otherwise, in 4, it probably would have been too late.
So I think you can probably go to YouTube, ladies, and
absolutely,
and find or either Google images, Google images,
Google and get yourself a shower card, because just having that hang in there, I knew every month I had to do that. So you don't want to forget, or you don't want to just.
So now I have to teach myself this. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm going to get.
But you are.
Yeah, I know I am. Well, we're talking about it, but I'm going to get a shower card. I really had no idea that you were supposed to do them on yourself. I just thought once a year. And what's kind of crazy is I was reading a lot online. It doesn't talk about that. It doesn't say do it once a month, check yourself.
You definitely should. And I found the nodule, it was like in August that year. And it just was like a BB size, really small, and probably it tripled in size by October. And that's why I went to get it checked, because it was growing.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's insane. Wow.
So had I waited for my yearly checkup with my doctor, then
you're right.
It's too late.
Yeah.
So
shower cards, ladies. So, one of your books, The Cure for the Chronic Life, talks about the cure. While cancer isn't considered curable, I like that you talk about you found your own personal cure, where it's C for compassion, U for understanding, R for response or living life with an outward focus instead of looking inward, and E for encouragement.
Right. The cure for the chronic life is just talks about basically all the adversity. Like my friend Shane Stanford is phenomenal. He's brilliant. He contracted AIDS through a blood transfusion, and is an amazing person. But we got together. It's crazy how we got together. It was through Brittany, actually, her mentor for Distinguished Scholar program at Oak Grove was his sister. So we just kind of met through her, but we both actually lived in Poplarville. He was from Poplarville, and my parents moved there my senior year in high school. And then I played basketball, obviously, at Pearl River, or not obviously, but to you, because I told you about it earlier. But we had so much in common, but he was an author and he's a pastor, and we just got together and just talking about our stories and the different adversity that we'd gone through kind of connected us. But that book is just more about the adversity and overcoming it, and compassion, understanding, response, encouragement. That's really how we're encouraged to live, like by Christ. That's the connection. So I think that book was important just to show people how to get through
on the
these
other side
moments.
of it.
And not because some people, And just like me, when I was first diagnosed and then I lost my brother, all this was going on. I was turning inward, you know, I was just gonna die inside myself. But God doesn't want us to do that. Like, we're meant to fellowship. We're meant to encourage people. We're meant to inspire people or help people or whatever. And that's kind of what this book is for, just to show people there's hope. And this is
You can
what
get
we
on the
should
other
be
side of it. Yeah. Through
doing.
faith.
Focus outward, not inward. Don't get stuck there.
Yeah. I think just from like the small amount you've told us, like that you got through it through courage and faith, and you get on the other side, and then you have, you know, the courage to share it with everybody, to put it in this book. I mean, it's inspirational for the next generation of women. I mean, we're going to get stuck. Life's going to be difficult. It's full of problems, but through faith and, you know.
Absolutely. We all are searching for something. And I think that some of us find it, some of us don't. But I really think, you know, it's our souls actually finding its way back to God, really, is what this life's all about. And that's what gets me through a lot of this adversity or anything that, you know, comes my way. And it still does come my way. So I know people looking at us from the outside just think, you know, what a great life and must be an easy life. And I don't know, it just always looks better to people from the outside, but
The grass looks greener on
yeah,
the other
always,
side. Yeah.
always. But there's always adversity for everyone. I don't
Yeah,
care who
absolutely.
you are.
No one's exempt
Yeah,
from
definitely.
problems. Yeah. Well, I think that you're an amazing human being and a wonderful, beautiful inspiration to all the women of the world. You did not bury your head and give up. You
Thank
fought,
you.
you pushed with a smile on your face. You've always been so sweet. Like, it just makes you feel like, okay, if she can get through that, I can get through this, you know?
Well,
Ladies.
well, you're one of those women too, I think, and
Thank you.
kudos to you, because I know Chae, I know who you are, what you're about, and I think you're incredible.
You too. So, as we went over our statistics, I hope everyone took a little something from everything you shared. I'm so happy that you came. I had a few things to share. We were doing a little bit of research on where you can go to get mammograms and get tested. I had to make like 7 phone calls. I didn't realize it was so difficult because so-and-so says call so-and-so who says, and no one does it. So ladies, the breast center in Hattiesburg and the women's pavilion in Hattiesburg offer a reduced rate for mammograms. It starts at $99. And for uninsured and underinsured women, through Mississippi, you can reach out to Jill with the Mississippi Breast and Cervical Program. She's able to help women between the ages of 40 and 64 receive free annual exams, and women between 50 and 64 receive free mammograms and pap smears. So that's a little bit of information. If you know anyone or if you would like direct contact info, you can message us on Instagram or reach out to us. If not, you can Google those names and they pop up. I know you had a little bit to share too about some of your foundations.
Our Far for Hope Foundation, you can go on the website and find lots of information. But the Pink Ribbon Fund in Hattiesburg is one of the organizations that we support. And there's also one at Gulfport Memorial for people who are uninsured or underinsured. They can receive help through these 2 organizations in this area. So just you can go on the website again and find all that information.
And so I love that, like, our biggest takeaways, which I did not expect to learn, were to do my own checkups monthly from, I'm going to find an image on Google, shower cards. That was what it was. Number 2, don't give up ever. Stay in your faith, stay strong. And then to end it, I'd like to say, after kicking cancer's ass, you didn't just survive, you have thrived. You've written 2 books. You have a beautiful family. You've become an advocate in the fight against breast cancer. You've raised so much money and awareness for women and for our entire country. I think all women can find some commonality with you and your life and your story, because you're a small town girl and you've been a single mom, which I can relate to too. You're an inspiration. And you've been a supporting wife. You've had ups and downs through life. You've survived breast cancer. And then you took all of that life experience, and instead of burying your head or not confronting it, you've shared it with the next generation of women. You've given us all inspiration and hope.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
She's the lady
But
bosses.
I look to a lot of people as well for inspiration. And I think that's important. Like, you know, if you have a story to share, I think you should, because there's always somebody who honestly thinks they're alone.
They
the
are,
only
yeah.
one. So
I love your daughter, Brittany, is on Instagram. If y'all want to go follow her. I actually know a lot of people that do follow her.
yeah.
She walks in her truth as well. And she's become vegan and she's wonderful. And so I follow her. And
She's doing amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, she realizes as well that she, you know, had a story that people needed to hear.
Yeah.
So
I know it inspires me. Like, and it's funny. So in December, you said something to me about she's completed an Ironman, guys. She's a beast. And you were like, I was like, I would love to do like a mini, like what are the triathlon, where it's like 3 miles and you bike and you swim. And I was like, I could never do it. And you said, you just have to try. You just have to start. So you said, you know, if you want to be a runner, you have to start walking, and you just walk a little bit and then you walk a little longer. And then every now and then you jog. And so I've been practicing for like not 10 months now. And so I've ridden the bike for 21 miles and I ran my first mile 2 weeks ago. So,
awesome.
you know, and that was
so
like,
proud
I could
of
do
you.
nothing in
I'm
December.
so proud of you.
So yeah.
And I'll do the triathlon with you. So you tell me when
Well,
you're
I thought I
signing
would
up.
be ready by September. It's the swimming.
Well,
I can't get the swimming.
COVID set everything back, and I don't know that they even had it
Yeah, I know.
in September.
I'm going to
not
blame
sure.
COVID. I
Yeah.
am not ready because COVID happened and the cookies and the food and all happened.
I'm not going to let you get out that easy. So
I know. I feel like I could by next September, I'll be ready.
I'll get in the water with you. You just have to let me know when.
I know. We're going to do it.
That was the toughest part for me too, swimming. When a friend of mine first asked me to do a try, I was like, there's no way I can do that because I can't swim. And I was a lifeguard, but I'm not a swimmer. I could jump in a pool and get somebody out, but I'm not going to, swim laps. Well, he said, I think you should go work with Casey, this girl at the wellness. Just go get a lesson or two. She'll help you. I went to the wellness, no swim cap, no goggles. She's like, would you like to borrow my goggles? I'm like, oh no, I don't need them. I'm like, what? I didn't know anything about swimming. So she said, okay, just swim to the other side. And I just want to see your stroke. Well, I got about halfway and stood up, and she's like, why'd you stop? I'm like, I can't make it. So that was only 25 yards. But
Maybe I need a lesson because this is embarrassing, but I still have to hold my nose when I swim.
Oh, I did that at first. Yeah.
Okay, so then, all right, I need
it
a
gets
swim
better.
lesson.
Yes,
okay,
you can do it.
I got the
You can do
goggles
it.
and the
I
swim
promise.
cap, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just
So
not
I
quick.
swam 2.4 miles in an Ironman. So I got it
That's
finally.
insane.
Obviously,
2 point.
you can do
then
it.
Wait. Okay, so it's run, bike, swim.
It's swim, bike, run.
Okay, so you swam 2.4 miles.
Bike 112.
Bike 100. She
miles.
biked 112 miles.
And then you run a marathon, 26.2.
That's insane.
It's so cool though, because when you're there, you're not thinking, oh my gosh, now I got to run a marathon. You're just, all these people are around you. It's inspiring because you see, like, I would see people running next to me thinking, oh my gosh, how is this person doing this? Like or some 70-year-old lady running next to me, and I'm not now, but it's like, wow, I was inspired by all of these people just around me. And I never thought about the mileage. I never thought about quitting. I thought about getting to the finish line and how cool is this? And
I'm in an Ironman.
Yeah. I mean, it was really fun and just.
You're like the only person I've ever met that's even tried an Ironman. They're that tough.
There's a lot around here. There's a lot of people around here.
Yeah. Like a whole, I don't know. It's pretty insane. But a
fun.
triathlon,
It was cool.
I think I might could do.
You can do it. And,
Yeah.
and you know what? Everybody starts somewhere.
Well, I'm so glad you came to interview.
Me
My
too.
first interview ever is Deanna Favre.
That's so funny.
Where do you even go from there? Right? Like, I'm done.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of places to go
The
from.
podcast is complete now. Well, thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me.
If anybody has any questions, you can message us, or if you have anything else you'd like to add or you want us to put on the story regarding breast cancer, let us know. The entire month of October is breast cancer awareness. So if you do get a mammogram this month and you bring in your receipt, we're going to give you a free little words bracelet. They have warrior, strength. I got you one, by the way.
I just had mine last week, so yay.
Yeah, I got you a bracelet for being, yours says warrior.
Cool.
So if
Awesome.
anybody brings that in and shows any of the associates here that you did get a mammogram in the month of October, you'll get a free bracelet. So thank you for joining us for episode 6 of In the Vault.